Developing human capital building infrastructure achievable, says Oshibajo. CBN recovers customers 89.2 billion naira from commercial banks. Federal government commences implementation of National Livestock Transformation Project. Customs impound 22 billion naira, animal parts 338.5 million naira goods, plus Asia Pacific market slippers investors awaits U.S. jobs report. Details of this and more on Business Express. We are reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Musa Abubakar. Now let's bring you up to speed with business development. Notwithstanding the current turbulent socio-economic conditions in the country, Vice President Yemi Oshibajo yesterday has insisted that generating economic growth, developing human capital and building Nigeria's infrastructural backbone is doable. The Vice President stated this while declaring open the virtual meeting of the 20th Joint Planning Board and National Council on Development Plan in Maiduguri, Borno State, while making references to issues of COVID-19 pandemic, security, climate change, education, the Fourth Industrial Revolution and the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. The Vice President noted that these issues require deliberate policy responses and deserve the attention of economic managers.
The thing for economic managers to stress at a time like this is that with adept planning, we can leapfrog into the digital age. But the answer to these issues is simple: education, 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 especially basic education. It is scandalous for us to be dealing with out-of-school children, hundreds of thousands of out-of-school children. It's purely scandalous. We must put our resources into education. And today we have no choice but to focus on relevant education. Education that will prepare our young people for 21st century jobs and opportunities. And it's not that difficult. That is which is the good news. It's not that difficult. Teaching coding in schools today, teaching coding, teaching digital skills in schools today is simpler and simpler every day.
Now, how much is the Naira exchanging for other currencies? Let's find out. The Central Bank of Nigeria has so far recovered 89.2 billion naira of customers' money from commercial banks in the country based on 23,526 verified complaints that were investigated and found to be true as at June 2021. CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele, who stated this at a fair in Calabar, noted Nigeria's financial system remains sound, resilient and stable. And the fair, attended by market women traders, artisans and many others, the Apex Bank advised the general public to discountenance and any wrong opinion and impression, as the financial system is not in any form of distress. He said the people should feel free to report genuine issues they have with any commercial bank to the CBN's Department of Consumer Protection. He explained that the fair is targeted at keeping the public apprised and letting them know the policies, programs and interventions of the bank and how it benefits the people. He said the Apex Bank wanted to engage the people in a bid to understand how its policies and interventions were affecting their lives, and adding that when Mr. Mefele took over as the 11th governor of the CBN, he assured Nigerians that the bank will be a people-centered bank. The Nigeria Customs Service says it intercepted 22.2 billion naira worth of elephant and pangolin scales and claws in an apartment in Lekki area of Lagos, as well as seized goods worth over 338.58 million naira in Kaduna and Katsina states between July and August 2021. Comptroller General of Customs, Colonel Hamid Ali, stated this while showcasing the seizure at the Nigeria Customs Training College, Ikeja.
Elephant and pangolin belong to the family of more than 37,000 species of plants and animals regarded as endangered, and Nigeria, as signatory to the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, cannot watch while the illicit trade flourish. Credible information and collaboration led to the interception of these 196 sacks containing 17,137.40 kilograms of pangolin scales, in addition to 4.60 kilograms of pangolin claws. The customs say high demand for wildlife in Southeast Asia makes Nigeria a strategic transit location, which invariably led to its surveillance and interception of items at a location on the eastern side on Ijeoma Street, Lekki, Lagos.
Already, 3 suspects who are non-nationals have been arrested. The kingpin is on the run, thinking he will evade the long arm of the law. Security agencies at all entry and exit points are on red alert to track and arrest him to face justice. He is therefore advised in his best interest to surrender himself to the Nigerian Customs Service.
The Comptroller General of Customs wondered why any individual will be used to perpetrate such an illegal trade.
They are brought in by foreigners, and then our own people are used as the conduit to export this thing. Why should we be the hope of this export?
While reiterating its willingness to treat as confidential any information that will assist the agency to reduce smuggling activities to the barest minimum, the Comptroller General promised to extend same treatment to any person or organization remotely connected to illegal trading of wildlife.
Let's now turn our attention to trade facilitation and revenue generation by the Nigerian Customs Service. And to discuss this is the Deputy Comptroller of Customs, Temi Bomodi. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Making more than 1 trillion naira in the first half of the year is actually unprecedented. What factors what factors contributed to that?
Well, a lot of factors contributed to the achievement of the Nigerian Customs Service with regards to revenue generation. We look at the efforts that Customs has made to modernize its processes and procedures, and we look specifically at the simplification, standardization and automation of all its procedures. This is important because what the Nigerian Customs Service has done is to make the whole process more accessible and simpler. This kind of interface that allows the trading public to access the custom portals, make their assessments, make declarations, make payments and get their goods inspected. So it's a seamless flow of procedures, and this has greatly impacted on what we see in terms of revenue generation.
Okay, considering the COVID-19 pandemic, will this feat be viewed as an overachievement, or is there room for more? Or should we
Of
expect
course,
more?
there's definitely more room for improvement, as we keep seeing, because every day we encounter new challenges, and as the challenges evolve, we also evolve, our strategies to meet them. We are not resting in our oars, definitely. So we keep thinking within and outside the box. Essentially, the whole aim of that is to get better results, both for the service and for the country.
So by the time we put COVID-19 behind us, maybe should we expect more?
Yes, I'm an optimist, and I'm sure we want more. We've been given so much by this present administration, and the only way we can show gratitude for what we've been given is by showing results, and in this case we want better results. Yeah.
Okay, is collaborating with other agencies an advantage?
Yes, it's a major advantage. We just saw what happened in Lagos recently, where the Controller General was there to showcase, what officers achieved by anticipating, by arresting some persons who had the intention of using our country as a transit point for exporting endangered species, and we could only achieve that when we collaborate not just with our local enforcement agencies, but with other international agencies as well. Collaboration is essential, because the majority of the kind of work we do relies a lot on intelligence gathering, information sharing, and collaboration with both international and local partners.
Okay, it's quite obvious then. I mean, it's apparent that you guys encounter some bottlenecks while carrying out your duties. But can you tell us some of the challenges then?
The challenges are multifaceted. The challenges we have is getting, people basically to comply with procedures. We know that there has been a certain level of compliance when you talk about trading with the corporate organizations, but when you look at certain categories of businesses, the level of compliance is not that great. So it's a major challenge, and we try to, through stakeholder engagement, through other kinds of platforms, encourage people to be more compliant, in the kind of assessments and declarations they make to customs. We've had challenges in our border communities, and the way they perceive the role that we play in enforcing government fiscal policy, especially with regards to prohibition. And we also put in place certain modules to engage these communities and educate them on the need to be more accommodating of our activities, even though we know that a lot of these border communities rely on cross-border trade. But we try to tell them that where these kinds of trade are counterproductive economically to Nigeria, to the nation in general, to the economic well-being, safety, and welfare of Nigerians, then they should see themselves to be working more on our side than on the side of those persons that they maybe sometimes tend to benefit directly from.
Okay, let's talk about smuggling. Is it really affecting revenue generation?
Yeah, of course. You can't discountenance that. Remember that our borders are really extensive. Our borders are so huge that even if you lined up Nigerians and asked them to hold hands across all our borders, it will still not be enough, to protect them. So the Nigerian Customs Service have had to deploy various methods and methodologies. We've had to, classify the risk attendant upon policing our borders, and also come up with strategies, that could, mitigate the dangers that arise from smuggling. So, yeah. It's been difficult, but we've been doing our best.
But are we succeeding?
To a great extent, I say we are. I say we are because if you go to all our government warehouses, both in the different zones, you find that they are overflowing with seized goods. If the war against smuggling was not effective, you will not find something of that nature.
Now, how are you taking advantage of technology, considering the size of our border, as you mentioned?
Yeah, so, technology plays a huge role. We're talking about deploying technologies in various ways, and we're looking at the introduction of scanners at our borders. You cannot be 100% successful if what you choose to deploy in the field are manual intervention methods. So you have to integrate technology into the process, simplify it, and make it easier for the officers on ground, because remember, these are human beings. They are not magicians. We don't have superpowers to know, what may or may not be there, as the case may be. So we need technology. The service is also keen on deploying other means that could be used at, say, border locations, even at the ports, that will help us to detect when persons are trying to evade the payment of duty, or they are trying to bring in items that will compromise the health and safety of Nigerians.
Thank you very much, Deputy Comptroller of Customs, Timi Bomodi.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, expanding the nation's tax net is seen by the Executive Secretary of Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NITE, as the tonic needed to generate revenue and invest in ongoing economic recovery. Dr. Ogbonaya Oji revealed this on a visit to management of Federal Inland Revenue Service in Abuja. NITE is one of the view that the FIRS should expand its oil and gas desk to include the entire extractive sector.
Oil and gas is one part of the extractive industry. It needs to be expanded to have a team in the solid minerals. It needs to be expanded to cover beneficial ownership disclosures, contract transparency. It needs to be strengthened to even areas of environment. There is no area that we know that tax is not involved.
We will therefore request for your support to build up our database by sharing with the FIRS data obtained from other stakeholders such as NNPC, DPR, Minister of Mines and Steel, Development, oil and gas companies, solid mineral players. I appreciate what you are doing for Nigeria, particularly the $3 billion dollars you have already recovered for this country, and the $20 billion that you have identified as collectible. We can assure you that together we will make sure that the $20 billion is recovered.
Minister of State for Petroleum Resources Chief Temipri Silva says the 30% host communities fund in the petroleum industry bill, which will be deducted from the operational cost and not from profit, is in the best interest of the Niger Delta region. The minister gave the advice when a 33-member delegation of Niger Delta elders and stakeholders paid him a solidarity visit in Abuja. Chief Silva says he is even more worried about the utilization of the fund peacefully without conflict, considering past experiences.
If we manage all the funds that are coming to the Niger Delta properly, NDDC, 13%, all the money coming in. Now this host community development fund, even the peripheral one coming from Amnesty, which we worked on, if all that money is being channeled properly, frankly, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we shouldn't be complaining again. A lot. So let us also spend some time to look at how we can manage what is coming in, especially with this new host community fund that is coming.
That even today, as Minister of State Petroleum Resources, your achievements in the volatile oil and gas industry, including the Herculean task of working with the 9th National Assembly towards the eventual passage of the PIB, awaiting presidential assent, will be indelible footprints in the sands of time.
Now, the federal government of Nigeria has commenced implementation of the National Livestock Transformation Project designed to address challenges affecting livestock production in the country. The project is designed to accommodate 15,000 cattle breeders. The project, which kicked off in Awe local government area of Nasarawa State, is supported by the Netherlands towards boosting milk and other dairy products.
Introduce the herders and the crop farmers to modern ways of rearing cattle and growing crops, with all the attendant benefits of improved feeding, improved animal-human health, genetic improvement, crop, the aggregation of all the players in the value chain at the implementation side is also bound to improve the local economy of the communities within the vicinity of the grazing reserve.
When you look at all the transformation agendas, not so much is said about the livestock sector. We are grateful today for making it possible for her to have a president that will look back and turn around this fortune.
If and when we're able to get so organized that the herders have a place definite, they have facilities definite, that they and their livestock can live on and have business calling with them, the better for this country.
By the time this project is completed, they can have all the open grazing law they have. We will not have problems again at this border by the grace of Allah.
The Asia Pacific market sleepers. Investors await U.S. jobs report. South Korea's Kakao Bank jumps at debut. Neka Oko has details.
Hello and welcome to the Global Market segment. Stocks in Asia were mixed on Friday as investors awaited the release of a closely watched U.S. jobs report. The Shanghai Composite was down 0.24% at 3,458.23. Hong Kong Hang Seng Index dropped 0.1%, while in Japan the Nikkei 225 added 0.33% to close at 27,820.04. European markets were muted in early deals as investors monitored fresh round of corporate earnings and the global spread of the Delta COVID-19 variant. Both CAC 40 of France and London's FTSE traded in negative territory, while Germany's DAX advanced 0.13% to close at 15,765.85. In the U.S., stock futures were little changed in early trading ahead of the highly anticipated jobs report. Contracts tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average added 15 points, S&P 500 gained 0.03%, and Nasdaq 100 dipped 0.1%. And back home, African markets rose on Friday, with most stocks trading in positive territory. South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40 led gains with 0.35% increase at 62,420.63, followed by Namibia Overall Index, which added 0.34% to close at 1,502.44 basis points. That's Global Market. I'm Neka Oko. It's back to Musa.
Business Express returns Monday at 3 p.m. Be safe out there. I am Musa Abubakar.